Sensei Seth just released a new video yesterday. It's called Can I Make Capoeira Work? And we're going to watch it together for the first time. It's going to be hilarious, I'm sure, just by the thumbnail. And it already has 39,000 views and over 300 comments. I'm so excited for this one.
To a lot of people out there, capoeira is the worst martial art there is.
What a sentence.
It's too low to the ground, unrealistic, too theatrical. It's just a dance. That is like the common perception of most people when it comes to the validity of capoeira.
I wanted to find out if these claims were true for myself. This is Juan Pablo, aka Peruca. He's a capoeira expert. And this is me, aka... I don't have a clue.
We saw Juan in the last video. He's a really good capoeira teacher.
Nickname. Anyway, the purpose of this video to...
Oh my god, here's me! I wish you would show the next second something crazy happened. The other guy was using a helicopter cartwheel and he almost hit my head.
And the only way to do that is to learn it and then try it for...
This is a really good attack. It's called Macaco de Ataque. You can translate it to the monkey's attack. And I will share here a video where I managed to off-balance my opponent in real time.
Try it for myself in sparring. Actually, before we go any further, I have a confession to make. This video should have been made a long time ago. In fact, the first time I tried capoeira, it was 2 years ago. In that video, I learned the basics. And I know you guys have a short attention span, so I'll kind of make this all a recapoeira.
Recapoeira.
The way that you move is called a jinga. This is essentially the fight.
This is the video I reacted to.
Stance of their martial art. They start off here with 1 foot back. They go to paralela. It's parallel.
Paralela, which actually means parallel, because your feet are parallel. You're standing in a straddle.
And then they go back and forth between stances in a rhythmic, circular motion. This creates a couple different types of evasive movements that they can use. They don't really have hard blocks for anything, they just don't want to be touched. Your mom can't relate. Heyo! Next we went over some basic kicks. I'm gonna let him pronounce the name because it sounds much cooler when he says it.
Meia lua de frente.
Portuguese can be pretty difficult and Juan has a great accent.
Half moon front.
It looks a little something like this, that's easy enough. Well, pretty quickly things got harder. And then
this is one of the most powerful capoeira kicks, Meia Lua de Compasso. There's this video of Barrozinho knocking out his opponent in the ring violently using 2 Meia Luas.
I found myself taking one of the classes, which was much harder. And that pretty much sums up anything that you might have missed if you hadn't seen the first video. But what I didn't really answer is why these movements look the way they do, why it looks like you're just kind of dancing.
When we talk about capoeira, we have to go and talk a little bit about the music, about the history. This was an art created by African Brazilians where the colonization of Brazil is not too different from the colonization here in the United States. Portuguese came to colonize. In that process, they bring people from Africa. It's a martial art came from the oppression. When the African people was doing the capoeira, they have to find a way to hide it, that they were learning how
Playing
to
the drum
and defend themselves.
Right.
He's
How
enjoying
they hide
himself.
it? The music.
The music.
And the movements. And here we have the atabaque, different rhythms depending on the birimbau is playing.
I actually have 2 congas right over here. Can also be used as a computer stand.
Different rhythms depending on the birimbau is playing.
Okay.
Okay, so when they are in that movement, their speed and techniques are kind of dictated by the music that's playing. There's kind of like a mutual agreement in the music.
Yeah, it's depending on the music, how they're gonna play. In the African diaspora, it's all connected. And it's a huge movement that happens 60, 70 with the B-boys and capoeiras in New York. Because it's all connected, all come from the African diaspora.
He's a great capoeirista.
So capoeira, the name of capoeira,
I really like watching him
it was
move.
something that just happened in Brazil because of the situation of what's happening in Brazil.
Right.
And the pandeiro. Here in the US, the tamborim.
And now that we understand the reasoning behind capoeira and the purpose of hiding the true intention of the martial art, the question is still at hand. Can I make this work against people trying to beat me up?
He's using video of Israel's capoeira.
Yeah.
Because the way that we move in a circle. We're gonna practice the jinga, which is like pretty much some of the standing of the kickboxing.
Right.
But you're gonna cross here,
Okay.
and then you're gonna cross to the other side.
Now, typically in any sort of kickboxing or really most martial arts, this would be a no-no, turning your back like this.
So the thing in capoeira, we always looking. So
Okay.
when I'm going here, I'm looking here,
Yeah.
looking under my armpit.
Looking at your opponent at all time is really important in capoeira. Even when we cartwheel or when we invert, we have our eyes on our opponent at all time.
Under my armpit and here.
Okay.
With all of these evasive movements that we went over, there's a real emphasis on keeping an eye on the opponent and being able to throw strikes at unique and opportune times.
Ooh.
With the nature of having a style that is so based off of movement and rhythm, every kick, even the most basic ones like this roundhouse kick, can come from a more complicated angle,
We call this roundhouse kick martelo, which means hammer, a hammer kick. If you don't know me, and I've been practicing capoeira for 20 years now.
difficult to read place.
One jinga. Go here.
I'm not really liking this because he's going to the same side as he's kicking, so it's actually telegraphing you're going to kick that way. So I guess it won't really work.
Okay. That covers a lot of distance too.
Yeah.
And because the body really only moves so many ways and humans are really good at picking up patterns, we can give our opponent a pattern they think is going to happen,
Here,
Yeah.
Right.
only for it to change.
I fake.
Actually, when I think about it again, it might be good because you're going this way, so you're letting your opponent go to the other side and then the kick is going to come right into them. So actually it might work, I take my words.
Because my body, my body's movement to this way.
Yeah.
I will fake and switch over here.
Ooh, okay.
So far I'm liking this series of techniques that we've put together, but they all require a lot of space, which Muay
I'm liking this attack.
Thai guys don't like to give
So
you.
if somebody is like, sees me coming in and then they give me one of these, more like trying to squish me before I do something?
You have to go out of the range of the person. That's always in the movement. You go out, you switch, boom.
At this point, I'm just starting to realize how complex this is.
Capoeira has a lot of footwork. I actually created a video with 20 footwork patterns.
Because while maybe it seems like 3 or 4 steps, each one of those steps can have a stutter, a fake. It can switch where you can go forwards twice instead of just the same loop.
Yeah.
When you're doing the jinga, here, the footwork, here, boom, boom.
And again, the style of capoeira shows me that this is a dance. This is predicated on movement and rhythm, but the crummy part, for me at least, is
And same thing with the kick.
I can't dance. But luckily, I did notice a key feature in the capoeira movement.
And it seems like your feet are always somewhat connected with the ground if you're moving.
Yeah.
Like you're not like jumping up a bunch.
No.
Yeah, when you ground yourself, you're more stable. More stable, but less mobile.
You're kind of like sliding and gliding.
It's sliding.
Okay.
Because more connected to the feet I can control more my speed
Yeah.
and where I'm gonna be and
Yeah.
where I wanna be.
And
Right.
for me, that small detail, I felt like unlocked everything else.
Time the person will think that I'm doing here, right?
Right.
So I will go.
Ooh.
This is a really nice attack, coming in with Armada and changing it up to Martello coming from the other side. This works almost every time.
Most of the rest of our session was remembering the old stuff we had worked on 2 years ago and then figuring out a way to use it for some trickeration.
Boom. The person will fake this way, right?
Right.
And then boom.
Ooh.
We did finish up with him teaching me some faster stuff. Thankfully, the man is very patient because a lot of it ended up just looking like this.
You put the hand
Like that.
here
Yeah.
and then come up and in.
Yeah, as you jump, this one will sit down close here and the other one will kick.
Sometimes you have to try before you understand.
You made that look a lot easier than this.
Yikes. Yeah, I guess the next step would be for me to practice this on my own.
I would love to take part in this experiment,
These are some moves I would like to try.
but I would probably get beaten a lot.
I guess the next step then would be just to wing it. I'm here about an hour early to film all of this. My goal for tonight, obviously, 1, to make Juan Pablo proud. But 2, I guess I want to really try and utilize a lot of side-to-side momentum. I'm going to have to figure out how to threaten enough stuff with the kicks that I don't really have to rely on punches. I'm just realizing that I don't know if there's punches in capoeira. Oh,
Yeah, using your hands in capoeira is a huge subject, which I cover in my new capoeira fight techniques course.
capoeira. Oh, also, little silly bit of information. These guys are all very close to having a fight, which means they're in the part of training where they spar really hard. I'm gonna make sure that the timing of my kicks isn't super obvious, because starting from such a far back position and then coming into kick, it's not really like an agreed upon spacing. And then the third thing is, I guess I'm kind of worried about all of the low kicks. The low kicks typically go to the legs, but if you are low, then the low kicks are kicking the high part of me.
So, meu birimbau, faz din dom dom, alegra minha alma, a mente, meu coração.
Round 1 was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. I knew it would take me some time to get used to the rhythm and the movement of constantly being moving and being so low, but I think I focused a little bit too much on the movement and didn't really throw anything. I landed this, but that was pretty much the extent of it for the rest of the time. Everything else just kind of got stuffed. There's an example here of moving from the jinga to the front kick, but because I wasn't much of a threat, I got punched. Quite a fair amount, which is, it's fair. I did land the sweep, but other than that, I was kind of just smothered for the whole time, which is one of the things I was worried about.
Good job. Hands up. Your heart rate down. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth.
Straight up, in this moment, I felt defeated. I was exhausted. All I could really think about was how much energy I was using, but luckily I had a second to breathe. Oh, nope, we're into the second round. By round 2, I still didn't really have much of the answer I was looking for. One of the only ways I'm going to be able to make this work is if I can start punishing him for coming in close. Okay, that was not
Nice.
the punishment I was looking for. More of this came for the rest of the round with one singular moment, a glimmer of hope. I'll take it. That's enough for me to work with. But something had to change in order for me to make this work. So I sadly sulk over to the bottom right corner of the frame and think about some of the wise words that Juan Pablo lent me.
The capoeira is moving all the time. It looks like it's something different. It looks like they're not ready to attack. They're not trying to attack you or something. And that's when
I
you
would
see
say
the
lose
kick,
the jinga.
It's the same. You don't
Just-
expect it that the kick
Just
is
use your
coming,
normal stance and use
so
capoeira techniques.
when they are moving, boom, 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 and then when the Portuguese come to see what were the African people in Brazil were doing, no, they're just dancing.
So I guess that's what I try and work for the next couple of rounds. Be a threat without looking like I'm a threat. Also really
They're going
quick,
pretty
just
light,
while
you see.
I've got you here, if you like my boxing gloves, being lighter on my feet and a little less tense should hopefully get my energy back. And a little more energy means that I can try
I'm
more
enjoying this
things.
video too much. Nice.
I'm definitely not as low as I was before, which is probably why I'm able to move a bit better, because this is closer to what I'm used to. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If it's working better for me, then it is what it is. My disappearing acts were a little less than desired, but anyway, there's one last piece of information that I think is going to really change how I spar with capoeira.
It's like every martial art you do karate, and you understand like sometimes is you have a problem on the street, you're not gonna go and do katas. No, you're gonna go for the areas that you understand they are like for attack or defense.
Yeah.
Same in capoeira. If you have a problem on the street, you're not gonna start like just doing ginga, do cartwheels. No, you're gonna do one of those kicks and defend yourself.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. You have a problem on the street, you're not gonna go pull guard and go on the floor. And pow, they're gonna kick you in the face. So every martial art have their own area where you have to express that martial arts. But when we talk about self-defense or real situation on the street, every martial art have that answer for that.
Yeah.
But it's just depending how you're gonna apply, how you're gonna do it. So that's why people sometimes judge the martial art, not the martial artist.
Yeah.
So it's two different things. When you judge, that, I know that art doesn't work. And if you have somebody who trains every day, is very good in shape, very good, ready to kick, ready to move, ready to do, and you have another very efficient martial art, but the person doesn't train too much, which one you think is gonna, which one gonna go over the other one?
Right. Yeah.
So it's not just the martial arts, the martial arts is how they practice.
That was easily the most my body's had to work. 4 sparring rounds in a long time. My lower back is fried. I think all in all, it didn't go terribly. Like, that could have been much worse. Like, I know that these kicks can land, but the setups and the tactic behind being low and being kind of difficult and hard to figure out, that worked. Every single one of those guys in there was like, yeah, that was hard. Like, I didn't know what you were doing. I didn't know how to time it. I couldn't figure out what was coming next. But yeah, as much as maybe it didn't look like I was doing well, I think Capoeira works. I think that's pretty easy to say. It's definitely a much richer history. It wasn't necessarily designed to like pit man against man. It was simultaneously expression while also like a community, right? Of people
Sensei
who are
said,
going
thank
through
you for
similar
this
things.
video, I loved it. Check out more of his content on his channel. He got lots of hilarious shit.